Kia ora, everybody. This is our last video in New Zealand.
Hello.
But we are going to catch you up to speed about what we've been doing in Wellington for the past few days and a magical mystery tour of New Zealand brought to you by the Te Papa Museum and their giant glowing map. So...
Not to be confused with their giant glowing squid.
Different.
They've got one of those.
They've got one of those too.
That's great.
So, we got into town a few days ago, and our first night we went to the Opera House and caught an Iliad.
It was amazing. I didn't know one man could fill a stage like that.
Pat describes it as...
earth-rumbling theater.
Which I absolutely agree with. If you get a chance, catch it. Second night, we caught some local burlesque, which was lovely at a place called Meow. The piano player was playing his jazz ragtime so brilliantly that he actually took up one of the discarded shoes of the burlesque dancers and used it to play.
The day after, we went to Cuba Street, hung out at all the secondhand shops, vintage shops, super expensive.
Which are cool if you have that much money, which we don't.
We don't. But we did make a run to Rough Peel Records, and they have some great stuff. I ended up picking up some Andean music and actually a Merle Haggard Trucker album. It's really cool.
Some Tijuana brass, never heard anybody. So, third night we went back to the Opera House to finish off the New Zealand Festival with Circa and their show Beyond.
It was an Australian circus group. They did some amazing stuff.
And I've never seen aerial silks used like that. It made me cry. It was brilliant. Lots of giant bunny heads as well.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We also learned about the origins of the North Island and Wellington Harbour. Who did we learn that from? A folklorist?
Nope.
Who was it again?
That would be Rachel Rouge, the woman who got naked in front of us at the burlesque show.
Yeah, burlesque dancer folk stories. But we learned that Maui, the trickster of the Maori culture, kind of like a Loki or a coyote type figure in their folklore, fished the North Island out of the sea, which is why it is shaped like a fish. And the Wellington Harbour used to be a lake, which was the fish's mouth. And two sea monsters, a squid and a...
Was it a whale?
It was a whale. Had a bitter fight, and one of them broke through the wall of the lake and turned it into a harbor where it escaped out into the sea, never to be seen again. We like to think that as we crossed the Cook Strait, we were being escorted by a fleet of colossal squid. So...
Now we're here in Wellington. We had a great breakfast at Sweet Mother's Kitchen, which was a New Orleans-style cafe.
Which we capped off our weekend because we had lovely dinner last night with our doppelgangers.
Oh, yeah, Jim and Simon.
Jim and Simon.
Jim is the girl.
Jim, Simon. We met them because we stumbled across a place called the Costume Cave, which is less of a cave and more of a second-floor office building. But it was lovely, and I got about 75 pounds worth of costumes for pennies.
Yeah, and we're talking like weight 75 pounds. We're not talking 75 British pounds.
No. And I have ninja'd them into my existing luggage.
Amazing.
Very excited. So now we are here to finish off and show you here at the Te Papa Museum. I'm going to hand the camera over to Pat, and we're going to take you on a tour of the islands.
The entire trip so far via Carmel. So,
follow my feet. Here we start at Auckland on the North Island, and we drove down to the Coromandel Peninsula, where we drove up to Whitianga, experienced the beaches in Cathedral Cove. We drove across through the mountains, back down, and back to Auckland, where we got a plane and we flew to South Island. Queenstown is our next stop, and we spent some time there, but it was way too expensive to stay, so we moved on to Arrowtown and then through the Haas Pass, which, we'll be honest, we don't know where it is on this map, but we got through and we traveled up the west coast, across the Tasman Sea, great beaches, horrible sandflies, to the glaciers. We think this one is Franz Josef and that's Fox. We could be wrong, but this one looks like the Franz Josef where we hiked up the river basin to its foot, and then we moved on to Greymouth through the Lewis Pass, somewhere around here, Hanmer Springs, probably this one, and then on to Christchurch, where we saw some great people and had lovely food. That's where we went to Smash Palace and met Shoshana. We went punting. So then we crossed up the east coast to Kaikoura, where there are seals just beaching themselves and loving life. Finished going up the east coast, where we went to Picton, and from Picton we caught a ferry, and we're going to do a bit of a dance around this gentleman. So, from Picton, we go through this sound, through the Cook Strait, as I said, escorted by a fleet of colossal squid, to Wellington Harbour, where we are now in Wellington. Beautiful place where Te Papa is. We're kind of around here somewhere. So then we will take an airplane across volcanoes, across hot springs, and we will end up back in Auckland. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for following us along. We hope you've learned something today. And we miss home, but New Zealand is a lot like it, so we recommend it for everybody.
And we might come back, we might just run away to Wellington, because it's a great town. We love it. Cool.
We will see you all when we get home, but in the meantime, if we've met you on our travels here, it's been such a lovely time.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you,
honeymoon.
New Zealand, for your wonderful, generous spirit, your fizzy drinks, your meat pies, your amazing weather, your mountains. Shut up about it, mountains. We know that you're beautiful.
Oh my God, they're so good.
The East Coast, the West Coast, the North and the South, the lovely cities, whether crushed or complete. We love it here. Bye.
Goodbye.